Good day, everyone. This morning, after I prepared my children for school, I began to have some thoughts in my heart which I sense I should share with someone today. And the thought is mark your territory. Mark your territory. Now, your territory begins with your heart and then extends to your family and then it moves to wherever you're staying. Now, it came to my heart that animals know how to mark their territories. You see a dog, and the dog urinates in a particular area where it stays, and then other dogs that come there just know automatically that somebody or something owns this place. And anyone that wants to come and take over has to first get into a fight with whoever is in that territory. Now, as believers, we can't afford to live carelessly. As I said earlier, it begins with your heart. Mark your heart for Jesus. Guard your heart with all diligence. Make sure the things you're allowing into your heart are not things that will come in to corrupt your soul. They are not things that will come in to scatter that which the Lord is already doing within you. Don't get careless. Mark that territory for Jesus. Mark your heart. Watch what you allow into the gates of your heart. Watch, what you read, what you listen to, what you allow in your atmosphere generally. Mark your heart. Then your family. If you are married, mark your family. Mark that territory for Jesus. Now, the Bible talks about Abraham. When God wanted to give Abraham a promise that I'm going to give you this land, he told him, arise, walk the length and breadth of this land. Now, that act of obedience, immediately Abraham took his stand from where it was and he moved forward, and he began to move. And it just came to my spirit that was why Abraham did not have any lasting physical structure. He kept moving because God said, arise, walk the length and breadth. Like as you keep walking, wherever your feet touches, he also told the children of Israel in Deuteronomy that wherever the sole of your feet touches, I'll give that land to you. Now, Abraham obeyed God, and as he did that, he was able to mark the territory of Canaan. So when the children were coming in, they were coming into a marked territory. So it was easy to enter into victory because somebody had obeyed and marked that territory. Mark your family for Jesus. Don't leave the gates of your family open. Don't be careless with your emotions. Don't allow any kind of atmosphere in your home. Mark that territory for Jesus. Then wherever you're staying, did you just relocate somewhere like I did? Wherever you are, make sure you mark the territory for Jesus. The Bible tells us about this man in Acts, Ananias. As long as Paul was outside the territory of Damascus, he could act anyhow. He could threaten the believers. He could throw them in prison. But as soon as he entered that marked territory, like a time bomb, he was detonated. All his ambitions and desires fled. He had no other option than to have an encounter with Jesus because he entered a marked territory. Just like you are entering the den of a lion. You are entering a lion's den, you should know you are up for something. Like you are not just going into a place that is not marked. So mark your territory for Jesus wherever you are. Raise up the altar of prayer. Look at Ananias. We learned from later conversations that that was one of the ways he marked the territory, through prayers. He was a man given to prayers. Pray in the spirit, blast in tongues, mark your territory for Jesus. Be intentional. Be intentional, believers, be intentional. Another way that Ananias marked his territory was living a life of obedience. God could bring an instruction to him. I know that this guy will obey. God was not fidgeting that, hey, if I tell Ananias, am I sure he's going to go and meet Saul? God just knew that guy, get up. There's somebody in this street. Go and meet him. And God knew this man will obey. Mark your territory through your life of obedience. Is the Lord instructing you to do something? Get up every morning by 5 a.m. Pray around your compound. Do this, do that. Obey the Lord. Mark that territory for Jesus. As we are moving into next year, the year of election in Nigeria, or wherever you are, whatever is happening, next year is going to be a year of takeover. There are going to be forceful takeovers. And these takeovers, if we want the Lord to be the one to take over, we should have marked our territory. God will not invade a place where men have not given him the permission to come into. And another thing is, God will not, a man that is not marked cannot mark a territory. So if you have not allowed the Lord to mark you in the secret place, if you've not stayed with the Lord and allowed allowed him to breathe upon you. If the Lord's mark is not upon your life, you can't be his agent of takeover. You can't mark any territory for him when you are not marked. It's just like someone who is living carelessly and then he wants to go and confront the gates of hell. Such a person will be dealt with mercilessly, because you are coming against them with their weapons. They will deal with you. So brethren, live a life of obedience. Live a prayerful life. Do what the Lord will have you to do. Ask the Lord for wisdom, strategies on how to mark your territory, starting with your heart. Mark your territories for Jesus. It's a season of takeover. Do not be left out. And don't allow the enemy invade your territory because you have been careless. Raise up incense of prayers. Pray in the Holy Ghost. Pray in tongues. Take over. Take over for the Lord so that he can reign. This is a season where gates are asking, who is this King of glory? And as we mark our territory, the Lord himself comes in and says, it is me. I am the one in charge. As Nigeria is moving towards the next year, where the elections will take place, believers, wherever you are, mark your territories. Do not leave it like that. Don't be careless. Don't just be after what you will eat. Don't be careless. Mark that territory for Jesus.